Coming in at number 15, Sunshine. So most people know Danny Boyle from his Oscar-nominated film Slumdog Millionaire in 127 Hours. But did you guys know that the director has a sci-fi film that came out a couple years ago called Sunshine? Sure, the film had an ending that didn't really fit the tone of the movie, but Sunshine is a refreshing take on hard science fiction. It had gorgeous visuals, a unique sense of direction, and a great cast that delivered solid performances across the board. So the concept of the film is that the sun is dying, and as a last resort, humanity has sent a team of scientists to carry a bomb into the sun that theoretically will spark it back to life. The cool thing about the film is that Danny Boyle has stated that he was influenced by past sci-fi films such as 2001: A Space Odyssey, Solaris, and Alien. Sure, the movie feels like two films wrapped up in one, the first being an examination of the humans on their journey to the sun, and the second half turning more into a routine slasher film that kind of just fell out of place. But with the great acting, amazing visuals, and a cool direction taken by Danny Boyle, Sunshine is a science fiction adventure that's definitely worth watching. Coming in at number 14, Super 8. So it's no secret now that I love J.J. Abrams' film Super 8. It has been on several of my top 10 lists that I've made already. So it should shock no one when I was making a top 15 best science fiction films, J.J. Abrams' Super 8 just had to make the cut. Being a huge fan of the classic Steven Spielberg adventure films, it came as a pleasant surprise when J.J. Abrams decided to pay homage to Spielberg's style of filmmaking back in the day. Like most kids that grew up in that generation, J.J. Abrams was inspired by films like Close Encounters, Goonies, and E.T. to direct this film. Using a sci-fi mystery as a backdrop for a coming-of-age story that features a cast of talented child actors was just a really smart move by Abrams. He was able to give the audience a creature feature with heart that, although not the most original piece of work, it reminded every generation of movie watcher what made the 80s adventure films so special. Coming in at number 13, The Prestige. Now I'm sure for most people The Prestige isn't considered a science fiction movie, but when you really look at it, it actually pretty much is. The Christopher Nolan film often gets forgotten when speaking of the director's past work. The Prestige stars Hugh Jackman and Kristen Bell as rival magicians, each trying to top each other, and they become obsessed with the rivalry. The film is structured just like a magic trick. Everything matters from the beginning all the way to the final act. The pacing and tone of The Prestige rivals any of Nolan's best films. Although the film is filled with almost no action sequences, the movie will keep you glued to the edge of your seat until the very last trick is performed. Coming in at number 12, V for Vendetta. Okay, another film that most people won't consider to be actual science fiction. But again, if you dig really deep, you will see otherwise. See, the film revolves around a near future where civil war rages in the US and much of the rest of the world is overrun by disease, poverty, and war. The United Kingdom remains as the only stable country thanks to a crazy dictator. V for Vendetta is exciting, stylish, and challenging, being one of the most bolder science fiction films in recent memory. Based upon a graphic novel by the same name, the film speaks about issues that are largely ignored by other movies. It benefits thanks to an outstanding performance by Hugo Weaving, who creates one of the most memorable modern characters of the last decade. Remember, the 5th of November. Coming in at number 11, Star Trek. Sure, throwing Star Trek onto this list is not very original since the property has existed for decades. But when J.J. Abrams takes a franchise that was looked as a running joke and turns it into a big screen blockbuster, you have to give the respect where it's due. Visually, the movie was phenomenal. It took the Star Trek universe and brought it to the 21st century. We get to explore more into Kirk and Spock as characters and the contrast between the two. Combining a great cast, thrilling set pieces, and a solid story, it made the brand more popular than it has ever been. Coming in at number 10, District 9. So the film that made Neil Blomkamp a household name in science fiction films, District 9 is based off of the director's short film Alive that takes the idea of an alien spaceship that has been parked over a city in South Africa and adds some controversial social commentary. Made for a mere $30 million, District 9 snuck under the radar for most moviegoers. But thanks to word of mouth, it became one of the most successful films of 2009. Nominated for Best Picture and Best Screenplay at the Oscars the year it was released, it's clear to see why District 9 belongs on this list. Coming in at number 9, Moon. Proof that not all sci-fi films need to be big budget, Duncan Jones' film Moon was one of the most fascinating science fiction films of recent time. Moon is a film that relies more on atmosphere and the mood than it does on special effects. Starring Sam Rockwell as an astronaut alone on a spacecraft, the film is more of a character study than anything else. Sam is 2 weeks away from returning home, but he begins to have delusions that result in a moon rover crash. The more he learns about his journey and mission, the more questions the audience begin to have about what's going on. The film is carried by the performance of Sam Rockwell, and it's a movie that will leave you thinking long after it's over. Coming in at number 8, Gravity. Alfonso Cuarón's first movie since Children of Men had enormous expectations that most filmmakers could never live up to. Luckily for us, Cuarón is not most filmmakers. The story of 2 astronauts adrift in orbit was even better than most people could have hoped. A movie that turned one person's fight for survival into the most intense roller coaster of the year. Gravity became a spectacle that must be seen to be believed. At its core, the movie is a character development mixed with problem solving. It's truly science fiction at its best. It's a movie that its problems and solutions are all mixed purely on science. Like his previous film Children of Men, what truly makes this film stand out is the amazing camera work. Coming in at number 7, Attack the Block. In what I believe is 2011's best science fiction films, Attack the Block has made it onto several of my other lists already. I'm sure many of you are tired of me singing the film's praises, but when a film is good, it's good. The film centers on a bad neighborhood in South London where a swarm of aliens arrive and start killing everyone in sight. Attack the Block is a fun, stylish action movie, and it was one of the best times you would have had at the theater that summer. The aliens had a real reason to be there, and the film's triumphant ending is just absolutely amazing. Coming in at number 6, Rise of the Planet of the Apes. One of the most surprising good movies of 2011 was Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Sure, after the disaster that was the Tim Burton remake Planet of the Apes, most people were not eager to see the next installment in the franchise. But nonetheless, Fox went forth and greenlit the reboot with unknown director Rupert Wyatt. What we got was arguably one of the best films of the year. A film that gave us a character-driven, intelligent blockbuster with a story, also had heart, and gave us one of the most impressive motion capture achievements ever put on the screen. Taking a different approach, Rise of the Planet of the Apes tells the origin story that results in the takeover of Earth by the apes that form in the basis of the original 1968 classic. It snuck up on everyone and became a mega hit, leaving everyone highly anticipating the sequel. Spoiler warning, the sequel was awesome. Coming in at number 5, Minority Report. In what could be considered Steven Spielberg's last great action movie, Minority Report was a hardcore science fiction film that created a stunning future where crime can be seen and prevented. Starring the great Tom Cruise as a member of a pre-crime task force, the film had many philosophical and ethical questions. But if going to watch an intelligent sci-fi film isn't for you, the film also works as a great big budget action movie. The film is easily one of the best science fiction films in the last decade. Coming in at number 4, Looper. A few years ago in 2012, director Rainn Wilson released Looper, a film starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Paul Dano as assassins for hire called Loopers. Although the core plot has been done before, it's the approach of the film that catapults it into this list. Johnson takes the elements of time travel and tweaks it just enough to keep you engaged. In this film, victims are sent into the past from the future as it is easier to dispose of the bodies that way. Those jobs are performed by Loopers, but when your contract as a Looper ends, you must kill your own future self. In Looper, Johnson combines intellectual elements with action, suspense, and what you get is a hell of a good time. Coming in at number 3, Children of Men. Alfonso Cuarón's 2006 film Children of Men depicts a world in which women have become infertile. Aside from the interesting plot and Oscar-worthy performances by Clive Owen and Michael Caine, some of the most memorable aspects of the film involve the camera work. So many scenes from the film have been proven to be famous for the minutes without cuts. Cuarón presents a story in which you can't help but be emotionally devoted to. The amazing cinematography puts the audience directly into 2027 London. Coming in at number 2, Inception. Christopher Nolan has easily become one of the best big budget directors working today. And with Inception, it once again proves how original, stylish, and skillful the filmmaker actually is. In what will go down as one of the best ensembled blockbusters of all time, Inception proved that science fiction original stories are still out there. Nolan never tells us more than what we need to know, and Inception is one of those rare films that every time you watch it, you see something that you missed before. Add to that the mix of Hans Zimmer's already iconic score and some of the best action sequences ever put on screen, and it's no surprise that Inception is one of the greatest blockbuster films of all time. Coming in at number 1, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. So for most people, Jim Carrey is known as the comedic actor that uses slapstick humor to make his money. From films like Ace Ventura and The Mask, he is not known to play characters that resonate with you on an intellectual level. That all changed for me in 2004 with Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, a film where Jim Carrey portrays arguably one of the most fully developed protagonists in a science fiction drama. The movie is about a broken man who agrees to a procedure in which the memories of his recent ex-girlfriend, which are played by Kate Winslet, will be wiped from his mind completely. The twist is that Jim Carrey's character starts to change his mind in the middle of the process. What follows is an exploration of what makes up a relationship, ranging from the sweet to the tragic. A film that proves that Jim Carrey is much more than a comedic actor, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is a film that must not be missed. Well, there you have it, guys. My top 15 best sci-fi films of the 21st century. Again, this is my list, my top 15, the films that stuck out to me. Not necessarily the best, but the ones that I enjoy watching the most. So if you guys don't agree, make sure you guys comment below. Let me know what you think is the best film, what you guys think I missed or should actually watch. Make sure you guys do that below. Leave me a comment, a like, subscribe to the channel, and also let me know what top 10 you guys want me to do next. I mean, I'm put them right here for you guys so you guys can see what they are. I'm thinking sequels or horror sequels or things like that. Make sure you guys comment below. Let me know which ones you guys want to see, and I'll be sure to do that the next time I get a top 10 going. But thanks for watching. Hope you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys next time. See ya.